Since 1208, Pope Innocent III had planned the Fifth Crusade to recapture Jerusalem. In 1213, he was calling all of Christendom to join a new crusade. Pope Innocent wanted it to be led by himself to avoid the mistakes of the Fourth Crusade. He prohibited trade with the Muslims to ensure that the Crusaders would have ships and weapons. The French were not going to participate in this campaign, as they were busy in the Albigensian Crusade. The German Emperor Frederick II attempted to join the crusade, but he was the last person Innocent wanted to join, as he had challenged the Pope before. But Innocent died in 1216, and Honorius III became the Pope. What about the crusade? You can start it. Start without me. I'll set off later. The first to take up the cross in the Fifth Crusade was King Andrew II of Hungary. In July 1217, Andrew departed from Zagreb, accompanied by Leopold VI of Austria and Otto I, Duke of Merania. King Andrew's army was large, at least 20,000 mounted soldiers and much more infantrymen. They were transported by the Venetian fleet, which was the largest European fleet in the era. They sailed to Acre and met other Crusader rulers, John of Brienne, ruler of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, and Prince Bohemond IV of Antioch. The Crusaders' army defeated Sultan Al-Adil at Bethsaida on the Jordan River. After that, Muslim forces retreated in their fortresses and towns and waited. Boss, what are we waiting for? Their union will fall apart soon, so relax. The Crusaders had fruitless assaults on some fortresses, but they had no catapults and siege engines. At the beginning of 1218, Andrew got sick, and he and his army returned to Hungary. Bohemond also returned home. The John of Brienne army stayed there. Later in 1218, new German and Holland armies arrived. Leopold and John discussed attacking Damietta, located at the mouth of the River Nile in Egypt. Control over the city would provide wealth to finance the continuation of the crusade. They allied with the Seljuks, who attacked the Ayyubids in Syria to free the Crusaders from fighting on two fronts. In July 1218, the Crusaders began the siege of Damietta. The action was complicated by the central defense tower in the middle of the Nile that protected the fortress. The approaches to the tower were limited by the large iron chain to the east and the shallow depth of the river to the west, so the Crusaders' ships could not reach the city. After a couple of months, the river tower was captured. The city of Damietta was well fortified with 3 walls, 28 towers, and a moat, and they could not gain Damietta itself. Sultan Al-Adil died and was succeeded by Al-Kamil. The new ruler blocked the river with sunken ships, and the Crusaders had to spend time clearing out an old canal so that their ships could surround the city. The siege was further slowed by the arrival of winter, disease, and leadership disputes. Meanwhile, Honorius III sent a papal legate, Pelagius of Albano, to lead the crusade in 1219. Al-Kamil knew that the city couldn't withstand a siege for long. He tried to negotiate peace with the Crusaders. The terms were highly favorable to the Crusaders. The Muslim leader had agreed to surrender the city and Kingdom of Jerusalem and the Holy Cross. They even agreed to supply funds to repair Jerusalem's walls. Some Crusaders' leaders advocated for accepting the peace terms. Cardinal Pelagius opposed it. After hearing this, some troops left the crusade and sailed home. He wanted to establish a new Christian state. Eventually, the terms were denied and the fighting continued. By November, the Crusaders were finally able to occupy the port. The papal legate claimed it for the church, but he was forced to acknowledge John's right to administer it when John threatened to leave the Crusaders' camp. In 1221, the German forces arrived. However, Frederick II was busy with internal affairs and sent Louis of Bavaria instead. The Crusaders at Damietta marched south towards Cairo. The forces of Al-Kamil raided the Crusaders' army frequently. That led to the withdrawal of some 2,000 German troops who refused to continue the advance and returned to Damietta. Then, the River Nile flooded ahead of them, stopping the Crusader advance. Sultan Al-Kamil ordered the destruction of the dam blocking the Nile River, which led to the flooding of the Crusader camp. A dry canal that they had previously crossed was flooded too, thus blocking the Crusader army's retreat. They were surrounded by the Muslim army. The Crusaders relinquished of Damietta to Al-Kamil in exchange for the release of the Crusaders. Al-Kamil agreed to return a piece of the true cross. However, the relic was never returned as Al-Kamil did not, in fact, have it. Also, Al-Kamil concluded an 8-year peace agreement with Europe. The Fifth Crusade failed. Some Christians blamed the Pope and his legate for the failure. Why did he send them? He knows nothing about military affairs. It's all Frederick's fault. Honorius III blamed Frederick for everything. I sent an army? Yep. I provided supplies? Yep. So I'm to blame? Yep.